aren't any strong hands out there. Maybe he's only going to be up against small pairs.
Yeah, Johnny Houston limped in first, and everybody sort of, that got everything going. It was family pot. And
yeah, I think it's quite reasonable for Theo to think that he's got enough chips to get this through, but the fly in the ointment is that Dave Johnson called with an above average hand for calling in that spot.
I think this is a play that I remember Men the Master used to be very fond of this one. And the problem is Theo all in. He's got an undercard and an overcard, but you know, he's playing a pot for 132,000.
I don't think he's done a great deal wrong so far.
That flop no good, and the seven's unlikely to be counterfeited. Dave Johnson hot as a firecracker here. Tyson needs the lady. Yeah, has to be the river. Wrong pair there.
If I called you, come on.
Sevens and sixes
No.
for Dave Johnson, who has really come out of the back.
But odds I did. Jack 8 dimes suited. Look at that.
Tyson pushed with the dead money. Dave Johnson called, and sevens were always ahead. Before a bit of a bittersweet moment on the river. Sevens and sixes beating sixes up.
The low for me was when I'm on 130,000 and I've got David Johnson all in for a total of me going back up to 200,000. Then I'd have felt strong. Once that didn't come off, I'm like sort of I was down a bit for a while, but I just played on, and I wouldn't have done anything different.
Cards in the air in this heat of the party poker at the European Open 4.
What do you think of that bet then, Neil?
It's pretty good stuff by Johnny Houston. I mean, it's he must measure up. He must measure his opponent very well, Neil.
Cool. Pass.
He certainly seems to know roughly where he is in the pot.
Johnny Texas special, wasn't it, boys?
He seems quite pleased with himself at the moment.
Well, you can't blame him. He's got 161,000. I mean, if most of it is through the bluffs on the river. I mean, there's a. Is that the third or fourth one he's gotten through? I don't know. This pot is between the blinds, and Dave Johnson setting a trap here, and geez, Arnott's Arnott's timing is just dire. This poor guy.
Yeah, it's all gone a bit wrong for Andy Arnott. I mean, can't quite work it out. He's having passed one or two hands that he could have quite easily pushed all in with. He's now decided to miss the flop completely and have a crack at a bluff.
That was a good fold anyway, David.
Quite sure what's going on in his head at the moment.
Should have bet the flop though, really.
He's very low now though. He's only got about 20,000, and with the big blind coming in 2 hands time, I think. Or is he
I
in the
think
big
he's in
blind?
the small blind now. Oh, he's in the big blind now.
He's in the big blind right now, so this could quite soon be the end of Andy Arnott.
I think, Neil, there's you know, players who have played hundreds and thousands of tournaments. They find a short stack sort of very automatic to play. They know exactly what they have to do, but people don't have a lot of experience in tournaments. A short stack's a bit of a mystery, if you know what I mean, as far as knowing exactly when to push that panic button and this sort of thing, and how to get your chips in. And
Good luck against him.
Well, Andy's found a hand to bung it in with. Unfortunately for him,
What's happened here? King's 4 against Ace 4.
he's walked into a bad situation.
yeah, he's dominated here, isn't he? And the way things have been going for Arnott, I mean, he's given this a nice lashing this tournament.
Yeah, I thought he started off really well. He showed a lot of composure early on. He seemed quite calm. He played a couple of difficult situations in the early stages. And it's all just kind of come apart at the seams and just towards the end, which is unfortunate, really.
That 4 is not really going to help Arnott. The ace Kicker and Johnson is playing nearly all the time here. King. King is what Andy needs. And soon. It's actually made the split pot a possibility. A deuce or a 4. And that 2 pair. Andy Arnott, probably a bit experience lacking. He needed a little help from the deck. He never got any tonight.
I do feel a little bit disappointed, really. I started off pretty well, won a couple of hands, settled the nerves, and then I ended up being low stack pretty early. And I fought back, and then by that time they were massive stacks. So you get forced to make decisions that you normally wouldn't when you're low stack, and I had to put it all in at the end. I think I made one hand where I could have made a good, it would have been a good lay down, but you know, I hit a straight on the flop and I let him hit the bigger straight. So, but apart from that hand, I think, you know, I played every hand how I would have wanted to.
Entering 5 and 10,000 blinds here, Neil, and 3-handed. It's going to be a different game.
Yeah, and David Johnson doesn't have the experience that these other two players have. He seems reasonably confident, and he's playing with some composure, so let's see if he can do it. David Johnson ought to be just setting the others in virtually every hand and letting them make the decision. At the moment, the blinds might just be slightly too small and their stack's slightly too big for that.
From the position of jockeying for second place, this is the first time that Slade's actually picked on Johnny Texas. That's the guy he kind of wants to take chips from, isn't it?
Certainly, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, it's an odd sort of...
Yeah, I don't like this move at all, really.
Well, I don't know. I mean, could Slade have folded anything there?
I don't think he could have folded very much, and Texas Johnny's not really going to be ahead of very much. As it happens, he's got about as good a matchup as he could get, really.
He just fancies it, huh?
I'm not sure what was going on in his mind. I mean, he's put 10,000 in. You know, it's not like a large proportion of his stack. He could have easily swallowed that one and waited for a better spot. At the end of the day, he's basically put his whole tournament with 8 high.
9 king.
Well, Slade's ahead, a 9, 8, or 7 right now for Johnny Houston. It's been a bit of a befuddlement here. He'll still have 23,000 or so left, but great spot for Slade. And that club has given him even more ways to win.
Looks great.
I think, oh, something like, I don't know, 40-something cards anyway, which is a good proposition. Ace plays. It wins.
Yeah, that was weird, Jesse.
I mean, Nick stuck in a raise to about 30,000. 40,000.
I mean, obviously Nick's capable of raising with a substandard hand, and obviously Johnny knows that, but he hasn't. Nick didn't leave himself enough chips to be able to pass for a re-raise whatever he had. So Johnny's basically betting that his 8 high beats Nick's random hand.
And I mean, Johnny, things have been. I feel like things have been kind of going well for him. I mean, he was in a good spot there, wasn't he?
Yeah, life was looking good for a while. He was chipping up a little bit. Out of the two of them, he was doing better than Nick, and he decided just to stick it all in with 8 high.
They're counting down. He might have thought his hand was suited, Neil. Yeah.
Well, John Houston's now decided to take the big blind rather than push with any 2 on the previous hand. Has he? Or has he got the button? I'm sorry, he has the button here.
Yeah, he's got the button. He folded the big blind last hand.
So he pretty much has to push whatever here. And he's found a hand, so that helps.
We saw, geez, who was it? Last time, Albert Sapiano come back from 11,000 to end up playing a 251,000 pot. So, you know, these things can happen.
You're going to raise it.
Yeah, I think David Johnson showed his inexperience there. He probably should really have called with King 6.